So I quit my handmade art business, and I'm gonna tell you why. Is this my flop era, or are things just moving in the direction they're meant to? So if you've ever tried to turn your passion into a business, or even questioning what's worth your time, this might just be the clarity boost you needed. So grab yourself a cozy drink and let's start from the beginning. I've always been a creative person, whether it's drawing, painting, sculpting, crafting, cosplaying, you name it. I've probably tried it and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I suppose that's why it only felt natural to do something with it. Let's rewind back to 2020 with my first attempt at an art business. I was very much into stippling, I believe it is called, where you do lots of little dots and a little bit of line work, obviously included into that, to create drawings. And I was going a little crazy on this. And having a lot of fun with it. I ended up making a whole line of artworks in this specific style and including a little bit of blended watercolor with a strong focus on ocean creatures at the time, but I did also include some others like elephants and rhinos. I was asking my friends on social media at the time to request different animals, and I even did some Christmas themed ones as well. This one's by far still one of my favorites. At the time, to the best of my abilities, I turned these into digital prints, which I then uploaded onto a few different products and things on like Redbubble. I don't believe I put them on Etsy at the time. I may have, but I don't recall. Overall, it was a really fun time for me. I was creating art, I was hoping to make a business out of it and sell them, but I was still very new to the social media, content creation, marketing, business plane. And so the lack of marketing really was the downfall of this business model. I had the artwork, I had cute designs, but I didn't have the audience to push it forwards any further. I had a couple of friends that were following my Instagram, order some prints, and that was as far as that business model ever went. So I eventually just closed the Redbubble store and moved on. Fast forward 2 years, I believe, and I started another art business with a now ex-friend. It was also a really cool concept. We were doing zodiac artworks and poetry to go with them and selling them as like prints and on things through like Printify or Printful, one of them. It definitely had the potential and makings to be something pretty damn amazing. We made a couple of sales through, again, friends and family wanting to support us. We had quite a weak foundation on, again, the marketing side of things, and we were just in different places and weren't aligned where we needed to be, so it kind of just faded off. And fast forward to last year, we are entering the craftcore era, aka Weeb Designs. There was definitely a few things that led to the opening of my Weeb Designs store. One of them definitely being that I was very suddenly obsessed with polymer clay. I'd also started hand painting custom anime designs onto denim and was also a little obsessed with that too. I think a big part of it for me was really that I was trying to figure out what income streams I needed to have set up as a content creator and someone who wanted to take this path full time. And I realized I would need multiple different income streams for that. And again, coming back to something that I was naturally just good at was art. So I was like, hey, what else can I do with this? How can I try and make this work? And then I realized, why not combine art and nerdcore? Essentially, because they were two things that I really loved, and I knew there would definitely be a market for people wanting merch related, like handcrafted goods that were from their favorite fandoms. And then around the same time, I started polymer clay, and we know where it led from there. So I went ham on the polymer clay, painted a bunch of things for friends, and then set up an Etsy store and a separate Instagram account. I ended up gifting a few different products to people and friends just to help get my work out there, which did result in a few commissions from other friends and people in my social circles. And then I ended up getting a whopping 2 orders from strangers on my Etsy store. And for a tiny moment there, I had that thought of, wow, this could actually be it. But in reality, it was not meant to be. All of the clay pieces that I was making were very small little keychain charms like these ones that are extremely detailed and very time consuming. Even the more simple designs And even though the commissions were really fun to work on and I love doing crafts with my hands, I could see where the path was headed very quickly, being a little too familiar with burnout. And instead of making the same mistakes again, I had to reassess. And that's when I realized that I wasn't making a sustainable business. I was just trying to monetize the rush of being good at something new. And when I was really looking at the time to money balance, it just wasn't adding up. I realized I wasn't building a life that I loved. I was constantly asking myself every time I made a new piece of art, can I sell this? Instead of, do I love this? And that was when the next realization hit me. And the reality is, not everything I love needs to become a side hustle. Some things are just sacred and they're allowed to stay that way. So we hit the end of last year and the start of this year, and I had a huge pivot. I really reassessed everything and realized that I needed to focus on the things that I actually wanted to pursue for full-time careers and prioritize those, rather than just burning myself out doing too many things and none of them becoming successful in the end because I'm only giving small increments of energy to each thing. I needed to prioritize my goal of becoming a writer full-time, as well as taking content creation full-time. And those are all things that take up an immense amount of time and energy, and I don't think that's always talked about enough. That content creation in of itself is very time consuming, and there's a lot of energy that goes into that. Writing is the same. If you really want to be able to write a minimum of at least one book a year and have that as your career path, a lot of time and energy needs to be put into that. And writing definitely isn't an easy thing to keep up consistently. But in saying that, I still do love arts and crafts, and I really do want to make art and stories that connects with people, not just selling cute things for the sake of it. So the direction I'm heading with art is more of print on demand. I still love designing, but using something like print on demand means I'm only creating that piece of art once instead of hand making 20 of the same thing. I'll also be releasing more fantasy and travel themed photo books as well, but predominantly it will be fantasy inspired merch drops. That way I'm achieving low energy, high passion work and creating it from a place of joy and community instead of burnout. And let's be real for a minute. If you've ever dropped a passion project or felt bad for quitting something you were good at, you're not a failure. You're not a failure. You're allowed to grow out of ideas, and most importantly, you're allowed to protect your joy. Creativity doesn't always have to be profitable. Sometimes it just has to be yours. So it's safe to say that I think I definitely needed to have many a flop era for the different creative art businesses that I have tried over the years in order to finally reach this place of alignment with my goals and things I really want to achieve. And I'm excited to bring you along with me for the journey of writing full-time and content creation and the fantasy merch drops. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had an art business or a creative flop era. Let's chat about it. If you want to stick around for more behind the scenes of building my author era and dreamy creative life, you know where to find me. So here's to creating for love again.